We recently witnessed the 40th edition of WrestleMania. After another great card, I got to thinking of all the great events throughout the rich history of the Showcase of the Immortals. With this episode of Two Views Wrestling, I wanted to take a look at my 5 favorite past WrestleMania events. Before we get to the list, make sure you leg drop that like button and put a Cobra clutch on that subscribe button. Without further delay, let's take a look at my list. Number 5, WrestleMania 9. This event is a guilty pleasure for me. I love the pomp and circumstance with the whole Roman Empire theme. This was also a great mix of the previous generation and the new generation. You had 80s stars like Ted DiBiase, Mr. Perfect, and Hulk Hogan mixed in with Yokozuna, Razor Ramon, and Tatanka. I enjoyed the Shawn Michaels vs. Tatanka and Steiner Brothers vs. Head Shrinkers matches. I liked the spectacle that was Giant Gonzalez vs. The Undertaker. And finally, I loved Bret Hart vs. Yokozuna in the main event. The psychology of Bret hitting a flying dropkick right out of the gate and going after Yoko fast is good and tells the story of a smaller guy battling a giant. I think this match is underrated, and if it had 10 more minutes, it would be an all-timer Mania match. The only way the main event could have been better is if it was Bret Hart versus El Dandy. Number 4, WrestleMania 5. I'm an old school guy, and this card is right in my wheelhouse. I can't get enough of the larger-than-life superstars of 1980s WWE. This era had some of the best tag teams with Hart Foundation, Brainbusters, Strikeforce, and Demolition all being featured. Also, this show is the WrestleMania debut of the future Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels. It had big matches like Jake the Snake Roberts versus Andre the Giant and Ultimate Warrior versus Ravishing Rick Rude. The main event was the culmination of probably the greatest storyline in WWE history as the Mega Powers finally exploded. For me, this match is bigger than Hogan vs. Andre from WrestleMania 3. The madness and the mania were the two strongest forces in wrestling, and only one could survive. In the end, Hulkster won, and the show ended with that iconic pose down that only the Immortal One can do. Number 3, WrestleMania 21. If WrestleMania 5 had star power, this one had match quality. I don't think there was a bad match on this card. The card kicked off with a great match between the reigning WWE Tag Team Champions Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, and things got better from there. Edge would win the very first Money in the Bank ladder match. Randy Orton had an eye-opening showing against The Undertaker, and the streak would live on. John Cena arrived and won his first world title from JBL. Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle had an epic match where arguably the two greatest in-ring performers stole the show. In the main event, Batista would defeat Triple H for the World Heavyweight title. So by the end of the night, the future of WWE looked good as Batista, Cena, Edge, and Orton all came out looking good. Number 2, WrestleMania 19. This Mania card is underrated in my opinion. It's billed as having 4 main events, but I think the HBK and Y2J match is main event worthy, so the argument could be made that there is 5 main events. Shawn Michaels returned to WrestleMania after 5 years, and after his great match with Chris Jericho cemented his place as Mr. WrestleMania. The first of the 4 main events is Triple H and Booker T for the world title, and I love this match. I love the Indian Deathlock and Harlem Hangover spots. This match gets a lot of flack for the outcome, and maybe that's justified, but I still think it's a great match. Next, we get a battle of who made WrestleMania between Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon. This was a brutal and bloody brawl that even featured the return of Roddy Piper. From there, we go into the final, maybe, Mania match between The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. The story was great between these two icons, as Rock had never beaten Austin on the grandest stage of them all. I still get emotional watching them talk to each other in the ring at the end. Finally, we got an incredible wrestling match between Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle and future UFC heavyweight champion Brock Lesnar. This match is best remembered for the epic botch at the end that would have killed a normal man, but Brock Lesnar just walked away from. But this match is easily one of the best WWE title matches in Mania history and a great way to cap off a stacked card. Number 1, WrestleMania 28. This is my favorite WrestleMania, and a big reason for that is because it features my favorite match of all time. The two greatest Hell in a Cell combatants were locked in the cell. The streak was on the line. Shawn Michaels was a special guest referee, and neither guy could trust him. The year before, The Undertaker and Triple H did battle that was so rough The Undertaker was carted out. WrestleMania 28, the stakes were raised. This was a dream match for me, and it lived up to the hype. I was sure the streak was going to end, and at one point it looked like the founding fathers of DX had screwed the Phenom. In the end, after a hellacious match, The Undertaker was victorious and the streak lived on. Also on this card, CM Punk got an epic entrance for his great WWE title defense against Chris Jericho. The Rock had his first WrestleMania match in 8 years as he defeated John Cena in a Battle of the Titans. Decent little matches of Big Show vs. Cody Rhodes and Kane vs. Randy Orton add to the card as well. When I think of the Showcase of the Immortals, this is the card that comes to mind. Let us know in the comments what your favorite WrestleMania cards are. And again, like and subscribe for more great wrestling content from Two Views Wrestling.